I'm here with Esther Surden, the voice of New Jersey Tech. Hi, Esther.
Hi, Elizabeth.
So tell us all about your magazine.
Okay, so New Jersey Tech Weekly is a newsletter and a website that deals with the business of tech in New Jersey, and I cover the startups and the tech companies and the universities and everybody who is in New Jersey and is doing tech and innovation. And the the thing about New Jersey Tech Weekly is that it's the one-stop shop for you to find out about events in New Jersey, to find out about deadlines for tech contests or for funding opportunities, and it's a place where you can see what actually is going on in our community, which is not really covered by the national press.
Right, and there is a lot going on in New Jersey, and you're very busy with it's enough, right? Just
Oh yes, yes, it's more than enough. Especially sometimes when there were physical events and they happened, three of them at the same time.
Yes, and you have a weekly newsletter which I get in my inbox, which I find very valuable. You have the titles of what's going on and then a little bit about them and then links to more information so I can scroll through, and if something interests me I can go there. And you have things about what Governor Murphy's doing, what the EDC is doing, all sorts of interesting topics.
Yes, that's what I try to do, is to whatever has to do with tech and entrepreneurship in New Jersey, I'm trying to get the word out about it. And it's been very, ever since Governor Murphy came, it's been very active, uh, an active area. And has been promoting tech and innovation and life sciences and innovation in the state. And so there are many more things to cover. So including like things like, more capital coming into the state for startups so that startups can fund their programs.
That's really great. So before COVID, you would actually go in person to tech meetings and take notes and then do a write-up when you got home, and that would go into your magazine, your online magazine, right?
Yeah, that's basically how it would work. But sometimes I was so flooded with events that I had attended that maybe it wasn't right away that I got to write them up.
And then with the COVID now, are you still going to online tech events and reporting on those?
Yes, the tech companies, the tech meetups, the Tech United New Jersey, which is the new name for the New Jersey Tech Council, they're all holding events online. Yesterday, Tech United New Jersey had an event with Cory Booker, and that was an interesting online event. But they're all holding, even Tech Launch Bullpen, they're holding a lot of pitch competitions and things like that online.
Wow. So that's really valuable to know. I think that one of the really valuable things about your newsletter and your online magazine is these deadline dates, right?
Right. So if you want to apply to an accelerator, for example, you're a startup and you want to apply to an accelerator in New Jersey, if that there are sometimes deadlines for you to do that, or you need to apply to a program that the NJEDA is putting forth for funding, that I put those deadline dates in the newsletter as well.
With links to more information, right? So
Of course, with links to more information. Sorry.
so how many people read your online magazine?
So I have between 5,000 and 6,000 people who are on the website every month, and there's over 2,000 subscribers to the magazine. It's a niche area, but people who get it like it.
It is. I love getting it. It's NJTechWeekly, and I feel like it just kind of keeps me up to date, even if I don't read everything. But you just kind of know what's going on and all this new stuff with Murphy and the funding. I got that from you.
Right.
And so people can advertise on your website, right?
Yes, absolutely. I'm looking for advertisers on the website and on the newsletter. and frequently they advertise to reach my tech audience. And they can, sometimes they come out, the advertisers come from out of state, especially if they're perhaps a university who is trying to upskill some people that might be in my audience, and or if it's a conference that might be being held elsewhere. Well, now everything's virtual, but nonetheless, I that's the bulk of my advertisers are universities and events.
Okay. It's really a great magazine. I don't think there's anything quite like it. There's certainly nothing else like it in the state.
No, it's unique in the state. There is nothing exactly like it there. They have, there is an entrepreneurship magazine in the state that's excellent, but it covers all kinds of entrepreneurship. I stick with tech, and also I talk about tech innovation. There's a lot of tech innovation in the state as well. You can find, things that Bell Labs are still doing. You think that Bell Labs is done, but they're still out there with a research component that's researching all kinds of interesting things in right here in New Jersey. And then of course I think we had talked earlier about Audible, which is doing a lot of spoken word research and hires tons of programmers in Newark.
Mm-hmm. They have a big building there in Newark, and
yes, they do. And they recently, unfortunately, I don't know what's happening with their innovation cathedral, but they recently refurbished a church in Newark, a beautiful old church. It's stunning inside, very inspirational place for programmers to work.
and they house Newark Venture Partners in their building, right?
Yeah, Newark Venture Partners are actually that building is shared with Rutgers, and they just happen to be on the Rutgers side of that building, but Newark Venture Partners is in that same area, and it has a huge co-working space for the people who want to be in Newark at the labs, who want to set up their businesses in Newark. They can work for free for a year after they go through the program. Of course, right now they're doing everything virtually.
Which they're tech, so they can, right?
Exactly, they can. They've figured out how to, as have many accelerators, figured out how to do their programming and to help their companies virtually.
Right. And I'm not sure that a lot of people that don't live here in New Jersey think of New Jersey as this big tech place, but it actually is. I mean, there have been some very successful companies that have come out of New Jersey, and it's not all happening in California. And thanks to your website and your weekly newsletter, we can find out what those things are and where to get money to pay for those things, right?
Indeed. Indeed. Well, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority is the EDA. They has a number of programs that helps startups, and they partner with venture capital firms and provide ways for startups in New Jersey, tech startups in New Jersey, and life science startups in New Jersey to get funding. And they've been remarkable in the programs that they've developed. One of the really unique programs in New Jersey is for startups that have intellectual property and are spending a lot of time developing it, a lot of years, a lot of expense developing it, and they can sell their losses to companies that can use them to offset their gains. I don't, I'm not really the expert. I would suggest that anybody interested in that contact the NJEDA, but companies manage to get about $1 million a year from that program.
I've heard of that. I'm not sure I'd heard of exactly that one, but I've heard of it in other places where you can take on the loss from another company and use that to offset your income, your gain, your top line revenue, so that you pay fewer taxes. So
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a unique program here, but it really has helped quite a number of companies in their R&D efforts.
well, see, people wouldn't know that unless they heard that from you, because
Right, exactly. There's a every year I put a list of the companies that have received this, this I don't know what NOL it's called, but I put a list of those companies and they can go look and see what kinds of companies get this benefit.
that's amazing. So that's what's so valuable about what you're doing, Esther, is people just don't know where to find information like this otherwise. But
Yeah, I think a lot of people aren't. There's a lot of people that are slip through the cracks.
mhm.
They slip through the cracks because they don't get connected with a perhaps in some way they don't network. They do stealth startups. They become very insular, and they really could, if they get the right information, they really could accelerate their progress.
Right, right. And tech people typically are very insular, right?
I'm always surprised, I think I know everybody out there, but then I'm always run into somebody who decides they need to step out and contact me after 4 years of running stealth.
Right. Yeah. I heard a joke about COVID. Somebody wrote somewhere that as an introvert, they've been training for this since childhood.
Yep.
A lot of tech people just sit at their computers all day. So you really do a valuable service for the community. I know that the entire tech community has recognized you many times, and it's a good publication. And I would certainly encourage anybody who wants to know about tech in New Jersey, even if you don't live here, to just take a peek. So
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. I would like to say that I started the publication, which I may have said before, to tell people's stories. I thought it was really important to tell the stories of the tech community in New Jersey, as they weren't getting very much press at all. And there are some wonderful companies here and some innovative companies. And you only have to take a look at how some of these companies have responded to the COVID crisis to know that they are just worth keeping. And so I wanted to highlight their efforts and show what kind of innovation we have here in New Jersey. And for the most part, it's worked out pretty well. We do have a lot of innovative companies here.
yeah, and just when you think something new can't come along, here it comes, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, that's all. And that's really interesting. I mean, there are lots of outliers here too. I mean, who knew that there's an autonomous car company here in New Jersey somewhere. And there's a fellow who's trying to revolutionize last mile delivery systems somewhere here. So, get rid of the final trucks that have to come into your neighborhood. And it doesn't have to do with drones. there are people here who are working on blockchain solutions that are practical. And maybe it's not their time yet, but sometime in the future it will be. So we have a lot of innovation going on here.
Great. Is there anything else that people need to know about NJTechWeekly?
So yeah, I guess what I could say is I'd love to invite everybody to subscribe to the newsletter. I'd like to invite anybody who to come to my website, take a look around, poke around, and see what you find out there. And then also, I'd like anybody who is interested in supporting us to advertise.
Great. Thank you. This is Esther Surden with NJTechWeekly.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Elizabeth.